Hello and welcome to
To
episode
episode
84.
84.
84,
Four
the Randy Moss
of this
episode.
episode
Would you agree
of
that it's
the
the Randy Moss
Randy
episode?
Moss episode. Yes, of course. The
Yes.
first the first thing I was trying to think of was like, all right, what are some horrible 84s that I can drop in as superlatives? And I really none came to mind outside of Patrick Creighton. It's just I could not stand Patrick Creighton.
Patrick
Love what he
Creighton.
stood for in terms of like calling out the scheme and stuff like that, but the player, like, he just pissed
Yeah.
me off so often. But anyway, yes, the Randy Schmoss
The
episode.
Randy Mossing on them episode of the Duo Sports and Stuff podcast. My name is Deonte, joined by my guy, my best man, my ace, my co-host, Dane Beasley. Dane, how you doing, my guy?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. Ugh.
Sounds like you're shuffling a little bit over there.
Freaking chair is doing a little.
Oh, yeah, you're getting that.
Yeah, so
That
it's
hydraulic
almost,
action over
yeah,
there.
it's almost time.
Same over here, bro.
It's almost time. But yeah,
Mine
we
is
good,
mine
man.
is like I have to sit. I can't really move much when we record because one, the way my desk is arranged, like there's not much movement. Like if I hit the table, the camera's gonna shake, and people that watch us on YouTube be like, "Bro, this dude is tripping over there." And then,
Get somebody's stomach bug. Motion
yeah,
sickness.
the side is kind of worn out a little bit, but we gonna make it work, man. Episode 84 of the Duo Sports and Stuff podcast, Apple, Spotify. For our viewers on YouTube, thank you for tuning in for another episode of the Duo. Man, thank you to everyone that joined us on playback for the first round of the Duo watch party on Thursday night. We had so much fun, man, kicking it with some friends of the show that came by to chat with us in the chat, hop up on stage. Our boy LaPaul hopped up on stage with us for a little bit as a Texans fan, right when Derek Stingley got picked. And so that was pretty cool to interact with a bunch of people that rock with our show. We, like Dane and I mentioned, we're going to try to do more live kind of things like that, different pieces of content that we're going to try to do in the near future for people that rock with us. So I'm glad that people enjoyed it, and hopefully we could do more things like that. Dane, what'd you think about the our first live experience?
Bro, it was fun. It was very fun. It was very easy to navigate the interface, being able to see everything, like knowing that we all were seeing the same thing at the same time.
Yeah.
Perfect, because most of the time, like when you and I and even Bo or Justin were like playing the game and we were all watching something on TV, it's like, hey, make sure you don't celebrate, put yourself on mute, because I had no idea what's about to happen next in this game. So it's like, see your reaction at the same time as my reaction and someone else's reaction. Perfect. Versus seeing it in like a delayed sort of deal. It was good. It was good. I appreciated that the most.
Yeah. Didn't have that 30-second. Hey, bro, I know what's gonna happen in 30 seconds, so I'm gonna chill. Yeah. Appreciate people that hopped in. Thank you to the people at Playback for providing us the opportunity to use their platform to do so. It's really cool. On desktop, on the phone. I think they're going to come out with a public app for everyone to use at some point. But yeah, man, it was a great experience. Like Dane and I said, hopefully we can bring maybe during the football season some live games that we could do, because there's the opportunity for that. Maybe NBA finals, got the NBA finals coming up in the month of June. So maybe we could do a game or two or something like that, but we'll mess around with it and see where we go from there, bro. But yeah, the NFL draft wrapped up this weekend, bro. And we talked about it on the live show about a lot of surprises that, we always go into the drafts and there's a lot of hype about all these deals that could get done, or this is the craziest, most unexpected draft, and you kind of shrug it off a little bit. But I think we saw like the most number of trades we ever seen in the first round with 9. We saw the first 5 picks be defensive, bro.
Solid.
Yeah. What'd you kind of think about what we witnessed in the first round?
I was happy because it shows that the league has finally been put on notice that although the game is essentially built for the offensive players to have the advantage, teams or team builders would know like defensive players make they make the difference. So hopefully we see within this era, so within the next 5 or 10 years, we see a shift in not only the protection of quarterbacks and receivers in defenseless players, but we see a shift in the game being a little bit more uh, equitable, parity wise. So it was good to see. It was good to see because more than often we see too far often horrible quarterbacks getting drafted first overall, second overall, just because of desperation from your bottom feeding teams. But it was a
Mhm.
breath of fresh air, man. What about you?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, man. I feel like we always see those shifts, like you said, in the league. Like there was the shift of everybody trying to run read option, like a copycat league.
Bruh.
We saw a shift in everybody trying to go spread and things of that nature. And right now, it's a
Mm-hmm.
quarterback heavy league. You need a quarterback to kind of be at the top of the food chain. And I think with this draft, you kind of saw you.
Okay, I will come back to. I'm gonna write it down. Why that made me laugh
Okay,
so hard? Go
okay,
ahead, man.
please. When I said top of the food
I'm
chain,
gonna put it in my notes. Yes.
all right. So I was saying you kind of see the copycat league, like a lot of teams trying to get a quarterback to push them to elite status. And on the defensive end, if you can't get one of those options, and I think I mentioned it on Thursday during the draft show, if you can't get the quarterback that you need
Hmm.
to be successful, what's the next best option, right? You shore up your
Right.
defense. You shore up the guys that are going to be on the other side of that ball playing against these quarterbacks, these offensive weapons that you see on the other side. So I think a lot of the teams that were equipped to go get defensive players in a draft that the quarterbacks weren't really. It wasn't really a quarterback heavy class, or it was a quarterback heavy class, but the quality, is not as good as most years or recent years. You only had one quarterback go in the first round with Kenny Pickett. And what's funny about that, I don't know if Sean will listen to this episode, but he rather would prefer he preferred Malik Willis, and I did as well. But it looks like teams really didn't see it that way, as he fell to the third round to the Tennessee Titans, and Kenny Pickett and was the only quarterback that ended up going in the first round. But
Mhm.
yeah, I think you just see defenses and teams that aren't able to get those weapons or aren't able to get those quarterbacks. It's like, hey, let's show up the defense. Let's try to get as great as we can on that side of the ball to attack what's going on the other side.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, it was weird just not seeing teams risk it for quarterbacks this year.
Mhm.
I mean, there was some
Yeah, we were
solid,
expecting that a lot. Yeah.
yeah, like it was weird that we knew that the quarterback selection was going to be, lesser than normal, and maybe that just speaks to the links that these front offices are going to ensure that they're just not setting up their team for failure by just bringing in anybody, but just bringing them in at the right time using significant draft capitals for those premium positions. I mean, quarterback is premium position, but I'm willing to bet $10.
Okay.
I'm willing to bet $12 that the draft this time next year, we're going to see at least three quarterbacks taken in first and second round. Like it's going
Yeah.
to be a major difference. Major
Who are
difference
top
for you.
quarterbacks next year?
Got CJ Stroud, Bryce Young off the top of my head, and probably somebody from the pack. I'm forgetting somebody from the pack. Um,
Uh, oh,
somebody
boy's
from
not eligible yet. Caleb
Nah,
Williams isn't
Caleb's not
eligible yet.
eligible yet. Somebody from the pack I'm forgetting. It'll come to me.
Jaden Daniels transfer. I don't know if he's first round material yet though. Jaden Daniels.
We
He
gonna
went
see.
to
We see what happens. The difference in it 1 year makes. Like
yeah,
in terms of Kenny Pickett.
yeah.
We in terms of
Quarterbacks we didn't even know about really that just
yeah,
hopped on, yeah, and made
Jay
a
Burrow.
made an impact.
Jay Burrow is another. Jay Cool is another good example. Although a talented quarterback is just making that leap that year. Just, the difference a year takes, or difference a
Right,
year makes in terms of quarterback evaluations. And
right.
yeah, so
Another thing that surprised me and I thought was gonna happen first round was like see actual player movement, and we saw Hollywood Brown get traded to the
crazy,
Cardinals from the
crazy.
Ravens for a first round pick, bro. Right? Wasn't that first round pick?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if he was worth that first round pick. I don't think he was, but Arizona swinging for the fences as far as getting Kyler Murray who he wants as a weapon. They played together in college at Oklahoma.
What more do you
Um,
want, dude?
yeah, I know, right? Well, also they picked that tight end Trey McBride from Colorado State
the
that I liked
best,
a lot.
the best tight end in the draft by a
Right,
long shot.
right, yeah. He was probably on all the draft boards as the top tight end. They got him. But as far as the surprises, I thought we'd maybe see a Deebo Samuel deal as he had demanded a trade a few
AJ
days before
Brown.
the draft. We saw AJ Brown get deal,
That
to
was
Philly.
that one. That one blew my mind. It's like, whoa, y'all are really swinging for the like,
And gave
like
him what 4 years, 100 mil, something
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Like they threw the bag at Buddy. So and we talked about it briefly, during the stream about just the impact. Are we going to? Is this going to be the norm in terms of teams not paying these these
Yeah,
wide receivers top billing? It's like
yeah,
I don't know. I
and
can't tell
yeah,
you. Like I didn't
because
expect that.
we see like the receiver market is been put in array a disarray if you
This
put it like
guy.
that with the Christian Kirk. Everybody's pointing to that Christian Kirk deal you
Yeah,
got from the Jaguars as
freaking
that
Jaguars' fault.
snow yeah, that snowball effect of getting everything going. But yeah, we saw AJ Brown get deal, Hollywood Brown. We didn't see Deebo Samuel get uh dealt, which could probably happen in the next few days. Who knows?
Yeah, Odell
um
Beckham. I'm
yeah,
side eyeing you, bro, because you throw me.
yeah,
I'm like, wait a minute. Why is no one tweeting about this?
yeah,
Odell's got the scoop, and I was like, what's going on? I need to see. Shout out to the because I was like, in my head like that is a really good pick. I mean, a good trade for the Patriots in terms of helping the young quarterback and then just getting a playmaker, a bona fide playmaker in the system, like in their
right.
system. So
Yeah, and then Tom Pelissero just quote tweeted Odell Beckham said, "This is not true." So everybody was just like, "All right," they just moved on from that point. But
and
yeah,
correct me if I'm wrong. When's the last time the Patriots have had a significant playmaker at the wide receiver position? Like a
Randy
bone.
Moss. Hey, fitting that this is the Randy Moss episode. I see you, Dane.
Like I threw up the alley-oop D Wade style and just
Yeah, man. And then the other kind of surprise maybe is the Browns not dealing Baker Mayfield. He's still
bruh.
still with the Cleveland Browns at this point, kind of like in
That's so
purgatory.
awkward. That's so
Yeah.
like you can't. I mean, obviously you can, but in an awkward quarterback room situation, you can't possibly roll in there with both of
Oh
those
no.
guys on the roster.
He hasn't been in the facility at all since everything went down. But that's still to have him on the team, like you feel like you
That's
could get some kind of compensation for
something.
him at some point, right?
Something. See something. But I mean, maybe there were. I mean, obviously there were rumors about a potential trade from the Panthers, but
Yeah.
the Cleveland Browns, they wanted the Panthers to take a significant portion of the cap hit. I think something weird with the money. They wanted some money to be taken on Carolina's side, and Carolina was like, "Oh no, we're not taking this horrible quarterback off your hands and absorbing the cap hit. Like you gonna
Yeah.
take the bag, we gonna take the player." So I don't know. Maybe something to come down here in a number of days, or if not weeks. But I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
It's a weird situation all the way around, bro.
Definitely. So we'll see how that shakes up. But if you're a fan of the duo, and both Dane and I, we're both fans of both the Broncos and the Cowboys. Dane being the
Correction.
Cowboys fan.
I am a fan of the Cowboys. That is it. Don't get it twisted. I'm not a fan
Oh,
of
so
two
I added
teams.
the and.
Yes,
I
yes,
am
yes,
a
yes.
fan of the Broncos. Dane is a fan of the Cowboys. There we go. All right. So
Thank
yeah,
you.
we're
Thank you for clearing that up.
so the first round during the stream, the Broncos did not have a first round pick. So I was laid back chilling because we
Hey,
got
Miss
Russell
man.
Wilson, you know what I'm saying? But Dane, your Dallas Cowboys had a first round pick. What'd you think about the pick? We kind of talked about it on the stream, but for those that did not check out the stream, what'd you think about the Cowboys' first round selection?
Pros. He is a mauler. He is a dog in the trenches.
What was
He's
his name?
gonna
Smith.
Tyler
What's his
Smith.
first name? Tyler Smith from
Tyler
Tulsa.
Smith. Yeah, so he's a local kid out of Fort Worth. It's weird saying kid, but at the same time, most of the guys that were drafted were born 2000, 2021. Like bro,
Crazy.
we were in elementary school. Like
Crazy.
yeah, anywho. So buddies bona fide baller in the run game. Has some good traits, a lot of athletic traits. Is very fast, quick on his feet for his size. Eventually, I think he'll probably be moved over to left tackle unless they find someone better. Um, he's going to be he's obviously going to be a plug and play starter for left guard position, which has been a thorn in our side. Tyron Smith, our Hall of Fame left tackle, I can expect him to miss at least 3 to 7 games a season. So there might be a situation where a tackle who might be on this roster or might not be on this roster moved over there. Cons. He is a penalty machine. It's something he's already well aware of. Many of the interviews that he's done with local media, he's already addressed, like, this is something that I have to clean up in terms of being um, a, a pro football player. His hand placement has been an issue, thus the accumulation of several penalties during the 2021 season, most of which took place while he was playing left tackle because he has plenty of position flex, which is helpful. But he's a dog. Obviously, there were players that based on the people that I follow and based on some of the film that I watched, that I favored above him, that I thought were
Hmm.
um, obviously options, and Kenyon Green and Zion from Boston College. Like, I thought those were shoe in, like, boom, those guys are plug and plays as well. But you know, the board fell to him the way that it did, so they made the pick. He had no ability to choose where he was selected. That's all on the team that selected him. So the expectations, of course, that he has to live up to are, unfortunately, he has a first round pick and he has to live up to that, being an offensive lineman drafted in the first round. And there's a pedigree for players that have been drafted specifically playing offensive line for the Cowboys. So that's my I'm hopeful, I'm excited. He seems like a really good dude. It's time to get to work, and I think he's got plenty of dog in him, something that we haven't seen from that left guard position since the departure of Ron Leary. I would
Yeah.
say Lyle Collins, but he wasn't there wasn't ability, there wasn't I mean, he had obviously had the talent to be a great guard, but just team of need the need that we had at the time, he had to play tackle.
Right.
So we'll see. We'll see what
Yeah.
Texas. What about you, man? What were your, if you had the ability to have a first round pick? I mean, obviously, if there was some way, shape, or form that you could have executed the trade with keeping Russell Wilson and also obtaining or keeping your first round pick, where would have liked to go?
Man, he didn't get a first round grade value, but I keep bringing him up, man, because we kind of need. Well, we have Albert O still in at tight end, but since we traded away Noah Fant, I would have loved
Mm,
to grab Trey McBride from Colorado State. He would have stayed in the state of Colorado. Um, but I mean, he had a second round grade. We could have drafted him in the second
mm-hmm.
round.
That's true.
But I am kind of satisfied who we did select. Um, Being a Baylor fan, I'm very keen to no. Listen. I'm not gonna talk about Baylor, but I was
Hey,
saying
it's getting
I
drafted
watched.
high too. Them Baylor ball players.
Yeah, they did. They
All
did.
right,
Well, my next part, our next segment,
of
I'll talk about
course.
that. But
You just couldn't help
the
yourself.
the watching a lot of Big 12 football.
Mm,
I see a lot of other teams in our conference, and with our second pick, which is our first pick in the draft, we picked Nick Bonito, outside linebacker at Oklahoma. Can never have enough pass rushers in the
facts,
league,
especially in our
especially.
division.
Yeah, exactly. It's quarterback heavy, top quarterbacks, a lot of top quarterbacks in the league in our division. But um, signing Randy Gregory, we know he's had some issues in the past. Hopefully that's all behind him. But if it isn't, it's not a bad idea to have some depth behind him to
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
to have some guys that can play and pass rush. And Nick Bonito, I've seen him a lot in the Big 12. Is a big time hitter, playmaker, get to the ball.
Always in the
And
backfield.
yeah, he's one of those kind of guys, and to pair him up with the Baron Browning that we have, Malik Reed, who's played extremely well for us, Bradley Chubb,
From the
obviously,
Ohio State University.
yes, from Ohio State, Baron Browning,
The.
Jonathan Cooper, and some of those guys can never have enough pass rushers to be able to rotate those guys in and out, and hopefully he could bring that same intensity that he brought game in and game out in the Big 12. So that was a really good selection for us. I think we had a lot of spots that are already kind of set for us. In the secondary, I felt like we could have added a little more, but overall, I'm okay with it. not having a first round pick.
Okay with it.
Overall, I think we're sitting pretty well where we're at, Dane. But you had mentioned, I think I had mentioned it first, obviously, about Baylor. And
Yes.
we had 6 drafted players, the
Which is
highest.
huge.
Yeah, it
Huge,
was
bro.
the most ever in school history, having 6. And because our next segment here is players around the league that aren't a part of our favorite teams, the best value and pick. And one of mine is Tyquan Thornton with the Patriots, because we had mentioned during the fake trade or whatever that Odell Beckham had tweeted about Debo going to the Patriots, how Mac Jones, I'm going to call him Mark, our boy Mark Jones. Mac Jones needs some weapons, but Tyquan Thornton, man, from Florida, he grew up in Florida, went to Baylor, but speed, man, speed kills, and he's a great route runner. Weapon that Mac Jones needs out there in New England. They've had a lot of trouble getting weapons, like, should I say, consistency out there at the wideout position. I think Tyquan Thornton is like a threat down the field, deep threat that can be that deep ball threat that Mac Jones needs on that offense. And they even got Marcus.
Yeah,
what?
I was just about you right there.
Yes, yeah.
Speaking of Joneses and the Patriots, go ahead, brother. Take it away.
Our boy Mark, his brother Marcus Jones, played for Houston. If you ever watched Houston football, Houston University this past season, he was the special teams return specialist, and also he played really great at corner. Got picked by Patriots, somebody who Bill Belichick will probably, how Bill gets in the lab when he goes crazy with all these schemes and stuff. Somebody that probably fits his scheme perfectly well for what he wants to do. Going to be great in the return game for New England. So shout out to Marcus Jones as well. I think it'll be a good fit.
Facts. This was easy for me. As soon as the pick happened,
I forgot one too, but go ahead.
For me, for my team, my favorite pick that we made was probably Jalen Tolbert, wide receiver out of South Alabama. Just in terms of, it's crazy just knowing that there was a need to wide receiver. As soon as we traded Amari Cooper, I was like, man, this is some bull, whatever. I started looking up because I didn't have any type of enthusiasm about our team drafting a wide receiver in days 1 or 2. Like, I just knew it wasn't going to happen because of how stacked we were. I was like, there's no reason for it. And then they traded Coop. So then I started going on the list of looking at guys and just keeping my ear to the ground about particular receivers. And I was looking up just in terms of range, like second round and third round guys. So I was looking at George Pickens. I was looking at Sky Moore. I was looking at Jalen Tolbert. And I was like, I like this Tolbert kid. And then when I was watching, because the best thing to do when you're looking at players before the draft is not only just to look at the highlights, but looking at their low moments too.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee game. Boy was going ham. And it just showed the limitations of their offense. Their quarterback backup quarterback was playing at the time, and it's just wildly inaccurate and just missed him on so many different touchdowns. I was he's going to fit right in here because we have a quarterback that's wildly inaccurate and misses touchdowns all the time, but he has good NFL speeds, a 4.4 guy, and he's a dog. Like, I see him multiple times trash talking to cornerbacks during the game. And when they got him on the radio and interviewed him, they'll say, he's a big trash talker. And he made sure to set the record straight. He's like, I don't start anything. If they say something to me, of course I'm going to talk back, but I don't never start anything. But I'll finish it, though. So
right.
love him. Love that pick. Love him. So
and not only y'all losing Cooper, you lost Cedric Wilson as well, who's a big part of the Cowboys offense this year.
Huge, and he's going to ball out over in Miami because of just the opportunities he has, not only to be like a third or fourth guy, but he's a special teamer. He's a special team ace, so he'll be solid there. But I would have liked to keep him, but he went and got the bag, and I don't blame him for it, not one bit.
Yeah.
It's very easy. My favorite pick in terms of value, in terms of scheme, in terms of the player, in terms of the fit. I've talked about this man so many times over the past 2 years, but Kyle Hamilton. Kyle Hamilton went 14 overall to the Ravens, and it was such a freaking Ravens pick. Like, you look at their draft, the Ravens had such a Ravens draft, and I say that because they know what to do on defense. Like, you can always expect them to have a premier, solid, bona fide, we're going to hit you in the mouth, rely on our defense. Like just going down the list. I mean, obviously Kyle Hamilton, David Ajabo, who of course he's going to be missing some time, but that is a great value pick. Travis Jones, a great one take / nose tackle out
They
of
got the
Connecticut.
mammoth offensive tackle. I know you mentioned defense, but on the
Yeah, yeah,
offensive side, they got
absolutely.
the mammoth offensive tackle. They got the center, Tyler
Daniel,
Lindenbaugh from Iowa. Yeah,
that
it's
dude is huge. Pause. That dude is humongous. Like so, they killed it in terms of just in defense. Like defensive wise, like they killed. Like I have no reason to look at any other position uh, or anyone they drafted on the offensive side of the ball, but they killed it on the defense. Plus, they got one of the solid tight ends that I like, Isaiah Likely, the fast guy out of Coastal Carolina. So yeah, that was they did solid, and I ain't gonna cap. The NFC East had an amazing draft, in my opinion, or just an accumulation of players, specifically the
yeah.
Eagles. Like
And we mentioned the Giants too during the
true,
stream.
true.
That those top 10 picks, they got
Let me go back to it.
Thibodeau
True.
and Neal from Alabama, correct? Yeah,
Yes.
they got those both in the first round, top 10,
New
I
York
believe.
Giants. Let me go back and because there's so much that happened. Yeah, so they got Thibodeau with the 5th pick, and then 2 picks later, 7, they got Evan Neal.
Yeah.
And then it just went off. Yeah, it went off the rails after that. Like I'm looking at some of the other picks, like yeah, you guys needed those first 2 picks because everything else was like everything else was just like, what are you doing here? But that's the Giants for you. They made 2 great picks. I look forward. I mean, obviously, it's been pretty. You know what to expect every year for the past 3 or 4 years with us and playing division rivals. Like we're gonna beat up on somebody twice. We're gonna not lose to somebody for multiple years in a row. But this year, I think the scales have balanced in terms of parity for our division. So it should be a pretty good fight. But that's not even it's in terms of how great they picked their players in the first round, as nothing pales in comparison to how amazing the Philadelphia Eagles did. And I don't care if they're a division rival or not. Like if you had a good draft, you had a damn good draft. So I'm gonna call it for what it is. But
I'm gonna call a spade a spade.
I'll call a spade a spade. The biggest surprise for me was Nakobe Dean falling the way he did, and just there was speculation out there about pectoral surgery or any type of the injuries, knee injuries, his height, which in my opinion, NFL needs to do away with
Height and quarterback hand size.
Yeah, like it's the issue. Like if you can play, you can play. It don't matter how tall you are. I mean, unless you like it's left tackle or something like that. Like I understand you don't want somebody that's 5'8" play left tackle. Like I get that, but if you can play, you can play. It don't matter what position you are, bro. Like we've seen this time and time again. The smallest of small players is still balling out. Like, but Nakobe Dean ended up getting picked up by the Philadelphia Eagles, which was dope. Like that's going to be an amazing thing to watch. But they killed it during their draft, so shout out to them, and hopefully we get some more more competitive games in the NFC
East. Yeah, we mentioned the Giants and the NFC East. I was impressed with the Jets as well. Sauce Gardner at 4th overall. They went and got your boy Garrett Wilson out of the Ohio State University and Lake Travis High School. And number 10,
got Jermaine. We don't acknowledge that second part, that Lake Travis part.
Yeah. I could have chilled on that a little bit.
Yeah, you went a little too far, and it's quite disrespectful. Quite disrespectful.
My bad. They went and got edge rusher Jermaine Johnson the second out of Florida State.
You have to bring that up.
Brees Hall out of Iowa State, the running back. Pretty good on their end. So
very good. Very good.
I was really impressed with what they did as well.
Yeah. They also have Jeremy Record from the Ohio State University. So that was
Yeah. That
was they had a solid draft. The Jets they did that thing. Now if will they be able to put it all together? Who knows? Because the Jets
because the Jets are the Jets.
The Jets are the Jets.
Look, we give you praise, but then we'll tell it like it is. We know your history. We know who you are.
We pulled the Carfax, brother.
No, but overall, man, definitely a good draft, fun draft to watch and experience. And definitely thank you to those again that came and kicked it with us on that Thursday night. It was really fun. We enjoyed it. And yeah, hopefully we'll see whatever those other moves that go down, Dane, potentially with Debo, potentially with Baker Mayfield. So of course we will talk about it when it happens on the next episode, man. Yeah, Dane and I are recording now on Sunday, and we have advanced to the Western and Eastern Conference semifinals of the NBA playoffs, Dane. But before we get to that, we got to talk about Cat. Karl Anthony Towns and his swan song. We both talked about it. You watched more of his performance than I did. I kind of caught bits and pieces because I was working and on the documentary and stuff. But I did see that last clip where somebody said he think he Kobe with the kissing the crowd on the way out after the loss.
He won. Like, all right, man, I did give him my all. This is gonna be my last game. Like, so I was like, bro, read the room. You lost, and nobody gives a damn. Like, bro, what are we doing here? But the point, the reason why I bring this up is I take pride in remembering stuff that happens, quotables during the season, and he said some wild stuff. Now, we all get in the moment. Sometimes we get hyped and we say stuff, and sometimes later thinking, I was like, man, why did I say that? That was dumb. And he said some foolish stuff to something to the tune of him being the best
shooting big man of all time.
I'm like, what? Like, what?
It's part of being confident, but at some point you just gotta
put your foot in your mouth. No, you don't put your feet in your mouth like that. And so this whole time I'm like, all right, bet we gonna see what you look like in the playoffs because you shooting big man down. I'm not gonna say if he go out there and he drop 40, 35 a game on some crazy shooting stats, crazy efficient shoots. I'm not gonna say I'm not done. Well, okay, he is the best shooting big man. I'm not gonna say that, but I was like, okay, there might be something to this. He did the exact opposite. In an elimination game, the boy only shot like three or four threes. And it's like, not even so much as like I needed him to have a particular volume of shots. But it was like, you're going to go out there and say these things a few months ago, and you're going to put up this body of work in a game that you get sent home in, or a game that you could get sent home in. I'm coming back for you.
Yeah.
So it sucked. At the same time, I think Buddy was just in his head because there are so many times that it's really easy to see. You can go look it up. Different videos of interviews that he's done. You can see the tone and the octane in his voice or the octaves in his voice, like super low. Like, yeah, man, it was, we did our best out here. And then recently, man, we this is Minnesota, they got to see it. Like, bro, what are we doing here? Like, what are we doing here? Like
Draymond, and we mentioned Draymond on a previous episode saying something about sticking to who you are, and he was referring to that. Like, some guys just need to be who they are, right. Like trying to be the heel, quote unquote, or the bad guy or whatever. Just be who you are in a sense, and it's okay. Like I said, it's okay. Like Charles Barkley. Like I said, it's okay. It's so funny, but it's okay with being confident,
right?
But taper your expectations. Like
that's a word, right, baby.
Yeah, be at a point where, man, okay, I just want to go out and play well for my team. I'm confident that I can play well, but you just got to go out and do it, man. And at some point, the talk, you got to walk it, right? You got to walk the talk. You got to walk the talk.
Yeah.
You got to walk the talk.
Brought that game up because it ended, obviously ended in Memphis' favor. And that's not to say that Ja had a really great game. Ja played like butt. He played like dumpster juice too. And his pops was watching an interview about his pops saying he said, no, he played like garbage. He played bad. And he looked right at the camera when he said it. I was like, see, that's cool. You don't have people in your corner like, what's the word I look for? Enabling you.
Give you the real. Oh yeah.
You don't have people in your corner being yes man enabling you. Obviously, that's his parents. But for your father to be interviewed, who looks like Usher's stuntman, like for your father to go on live TV and say like, hey, he did great. I mean, the team did great, but he did, his performance was unacceptable. That's huge.
Yeah.
So I guess the next step for him, and hopefully, once this podcast is over, we can see what they're looking like. But hopefully for him. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say we're recording this on Sunday as they're playing right now. They're down to the Golden State Warriors in the Western semis, 87-85 late in the third quarter. Ja Morant is 9 of 20 right now with 23 points. Jaren Jackson right now, 28 points, 5 for 7 from 3.
Sheesh.
For Golden State right now, it's the Jordan Poole and Steph Curry show. Steph has 21, Poole has 24. Poole party. Draymond is Draymond.
Shut your
Hey, that's what they calling it. They call it the pool party,
Oh,
bro.
bro, ain't that cool how that works? The pool, like the Splash
The
Bros, and
pool
then like the
party.
pool party, like
Facts.
that's dope. As I mean, corny as it sounds, that's kind of cool. Low key.
Yeah. So right now, Golden State and Memphis kind of tied or close to each other going into the fourth quarter. Earlier today, the Bucks knocked off Boston in game 1 of the Eastern semifinals. Bucks 101-89. Kind of a rough one for Jason Tatum, 21 points, 6 to 18 shooting.
Bad.
Giannis had a triple-double. Giannis looking like Giannis basically without Middleton there. He's got to step it up a little more, obviously, and he did just that. Kind of looked like how he did during that crazy NBA finals run last year. But kind of a segue, Dane. We're into the second round of the playoffs. On the West, we got Dallas facing off against the defending Western Conference champs, Phoenix Suns, Golden State, and Memphis, as we mentioned.
Suns.
And then on the other side, we got Milwaukee and Boston, and then Philly and the Heat. And now Joel Embiid is out for at least the first 2 games with the concussion and I think he had a fracture, orbital fracture,
orbital bone fracture.
Yeah, man.
That sucks, bro.
Seems like they always hit the injury bug over there.
Yeah, man, it's tough. But they got some bona fide ballers out there, so we're gonna see how that goes.
Yeah, we'll see how that shakes.
I don't think I had anything. I don't think I was going anywhere with that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm looking.
Gonna be
I had 2 screens there, so I'm looking at the notes over here, and then the articles and trackers over here, just to make sure I'm getting my minutes. In the future, I'm hoping that my camera will be set up in such a way where it's not like a super obvious.
It's just on a swivel.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But as I mentioned earlier in the pod, I was not able to really keen in on Cat in that game 6 against the Memphis Grizzlies. As I mentioned on previous episode, been working on this documentary, the 91 Rouge documentary for our hometown Dane at the Celebrate Clean Festival. It went really well. Had some technical difficulties here and there, but overall, it went well. Dane's giving me the hand clap. Appreciate that, brother.
Absolutely.
And it was awesome experience to have it and view it in front of a lot of people from the town. We had our guy Doc there. We had a lot of people from the documentary there, and we'll soon try to have it online. Hopefully by not this weekend, maybe the next weekend. I'll put a link to the trailer as well, so people can kind of check that out till we drop the full version online, man. But other than that, brother, I think it's time.
It's that time of the day.
What's that sound? No!
Nerdy news segment brought to you by
Shout out to Keith.
Shout out to Keith. Hey, did you see on the stream he made his name that?
Yeah.
Shout out to Keith. Too funny. Shout out to our guy Keith, man. The Nerdy news segment, episode 5. Episode 5 of Moon Knight, Dane. We are almost at the very end of this 6-part series. Episode 4 left us on a cliffhanger. It left us on a clean hanger.
To a dirty hanger.
A dirty hanger. A cliffhanger. Episode 5 picks up right where episode 4 left off with Mark/Steven in the asylum, kind of psychiatric hospital or whatever, with these elephant figures that we don't know what's going on here, and it comes to find out that this. Or go ahead.
Well, actually,
go ahead.
As per my last email, the last episode we had some ideas on what could possibly happen. With Moon Knight, where he could possibly be going, and the idea was, or the assumption was, that he would be in some sort of not purgatory, but just in a realm where he's awaiting to go to the next life. Because we're dealing with some mythos and some gods and a lot of otherworldly items and entities with this episode, we got to venture into what his level of afterlife would potentially be, or his resting stop would be. So we can confirm from the elements of the episode, and of course, spoiler
Spoiler alert.
alert. This was his version of the afterlife before he got to the resting place for him being dead. So he's like in that little middle place. He's not alive, but he's not dead. So he's on the way down though. So yeah, this was my favorite episode, Deonte, because they unpacked and if this was the very first episode they released, we wouldn't have any appreciation for it because we didn't get a why, and we didn't get a general, okay, I don't know what's going on. Can someone explain this to me? This was the origin episode. I know it's only so sorry. My bad. This is the origin episode.
Good, bro.
Talking with my hands. Remind me that Kevin Hart bit that he did. So yeah, there's a lot going on, a lot to break down. Of course, Deonte, I love a good conspiracy.
All right.
I have my notes here. A 6-part series, was this intentional in terms of timing? ... I think so. We flirted with this idea. Oh, go ahead, man.
Go. No, I'll cut you off.
No, you good. Go ahead, man. Ask your question.
Are you saying in terms of timing because of the next project that's coming out this week?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. YES. We have not only have had an introduction to the magical side of the MCU, but also the multi-dimensional, multi-realm, God-associated part of the MCU, right?
Mm-hmm.
Black Panther, Thor, obviously, Doctor Strange, many episodes of What If, Loki, and now Moon Knight. We get a huge glimpse into how these godlike beings operate in their introduction into the MCU at large. We got the human physical
Eternals
side.
as well.
Boom, right there. So 6-part episodes, the last episode dropping on the same day that Doctor Strange premieres. Doctor Strange 2 premieres. Is that a coincidence?
Yeah. Day before, yeah.
Based on the way that this episode 5 went, not a coincidence. Not a coincidence at all. So I look forward to Wednesday is going to be huge, bro. Mm-hmm. In terms of cinema and connectivity with the MCU, Wednesday will be huge.
Right.
But that's all I got before I completely nerd out.
I know, right? And I know we had mentioned like a little connections to the MCU as a whole, like references to things that we know about already in MCU, and they had mentioned the ancestral plane that we knew in Black Panther, right? What's the term for it? It's slipping my head. The
realm?
Is it the ancestral plane? Is that what they call it?
Ancestral plane.
Okay, I said it right.
After he took the heart-shaped herb and they had a little ceremony where he, yeah.
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah, there was a mention of that in episode 5, but I like how you said it. You perfectly put that when you said it's an origin story, right? We kind of get all these questions answered as far as like how did he become Moon Knight, and he was basically damn near dead, right? And he looks up and sees Khonshu, and he makes that plea, basically, or not plea, but he agrees, for his life to be saved in order to serve this, Egyptian god. And I think in episode 6, we'll kind of see these scenes that you have mentioned a few episodes ago that they were running as clips with Moon Knight and Arthur Harrow going up the pyramids and fighting. And coming to, we'll definitely see a conclusion to that. And like you mentioned, even the coincidence or not a coincidence of this landing right in front of Doctor Strange is, in the comics, Moon Knight and Doctor Strange are a part of a team called the Midnight Suns. It's Moon Knight, Doctor Strange, Punisher,
Blade's in it too, right? Or no?
Blade, yes. Billy Blade is in it. It's kind of like an underground Avengers. Is that how you would? call this team, but
Yeah,
go
it's a
ahead.
separate team. Separate team. Earlier, I took a note because you mentioned top of the food chain.
Yeah.
Uh, if anybody who here doesn't have a life like myself on the weekends and or after work, Blade 1, 2, and 3 are on Netflix. One of the coin terms or common phrases used in the Blade movies was top of the food chain because you're
Mm,
dealing with a hierarchical situation of vampires and everyone else. And when you said that, it made me laugh because
dang,
um,
I didn't even realize that.
Deacon Frost, who's an amazing actor, his name slips my mind. So great, his name slips my mind. But Deacon Frost, the villain of Blade One, he refers to the issue of him and the conflict that he has is humans thinking they're above him, and he's in his mind he's not beneath a human, and he's not beneath a pure blood. Pure blood is someone who's born of both vampire parents or both parents being
And human,
vampires. Yeah,
Earth human, yeah.
and he despises purebloods, and he often refers to situations and context of top of the food chain. So you said that, it made me laugh like hysterically. So you segue, obviously, brought the
Yep.
Suns. I was like, oh wait, Blade, and it's like, oh wait, my note supposed to come back
Yeah.
to top of the food top of the food chain.
And
So
that's how we do that here.
so um bro,
This is about to be
this
a
it's about
crazy
to,
week of
it's about to be. There have been plenty of times where I've watched movies. I've went back to the movie theaters to watch them again, and there were seldom times that I went back to see it 3 times. This might be a movie that I go back to see 3 or 4 times,
yeah,
just because of the nature of the content and the complexities that we're dealing with.
yeah. And the
Yeah.
movie we're talking about, if you are dead to the world, is Doctor Strange.
if you
I know I said it.
if you have a life, unlike us sometimes on the
Yes.
weekends and after work.
Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which opens this Thursday, Dane.
Facts.
First of all, beware on social media, man. I have not seen any leaks, but they are out there. I've not seen anything, but I'm very wary of it as far as going on social media these next few days. And if you were like Dan and myself, who don't really want to be spoiled about that kind of thing, especially with a big movie like this, just be aware of, it's out there.
Deonte being nice. There's gonna be some idiots out there that have access
Yeah,
to see the movie as early as Monday, and they're gonna be out there swinging their dingling, saying, "Oh, guess what I got to see?" And
the
there's the characters
worst.
you're gonna see. Those are the
Yeah.
worst kinds of people that in the world, and athletes. Sorry, I'm lumping all of us together. There's some athletes
Uh,
out there that
LaShawn McCoy.
McCoy, you idiot. Just the person, not the player. You're an amazing player. Spoiling movies out there, going out there and saying stuff like, obviously, you have an ability. If you obviously seen a movie and it's been out for a week, that's on you for going on social media and not seeing it yet. However, you have early access to a movie and you foolishly go out there and spoil it just in the name of, oh, I have something that no one else has seen. You're an idiot. And I hope you stub your toe 17 times in a row in the middle
And
of the night.
And kind of a word of advice: the worst social media. I mean, it's not even a social media app, is it? Maybe the worst app to go into to avoid spoilers is YouTube,
Yeah.
even over Twitter, because YouTube's full of different thumbnails and stuff like that, and you'll see a thumbnail off rip before you even see the words. Because you look at the picture first, you'll see a thumbnail off rip of something like, oh, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
YouTube,
try to, yeah.
too. Google. I had a character that was in the Spider-Man movie, the most recent one that came out. That was spoiled for me because I went to Google to search something, and it was one of the articles on the front page. I'm like, what the hell? And I
Yes.
was I was pissed about that because I was like, I was blind. The only thing I saw about Spider-Man 3 was 2 trailers. I didn't see anything else, and that was
Yeah.
intentional. And that pissed me
Right.
off so bad. But
There are some companies that spoil stuff too, like media companies. Variety is well known to spoil stuff. So if you follow Variety on Twitter, I would suggest you block them or mute them or unfollow them.
big idiot
Um,
energy.
yeah, there are a lot of media companies out there that just spoil for the heck of it. And like Dane mentioned, a lot of those companies will get to see Doctor Strange on Monday, the day this episode drops. So beware of socials. But as far as the movie itself, really, really excited about it, man. It's like you said, Daniel, it's gonna be one of them ones, man. I'm
Yes,
very
sir.
excited for what we're about to witness here, and it seems like Marvel they don't miss. And we've mentioned earlier how much content they've given the fans, and like this, like I feel like we just saw Spider-Man, right? To me, it
Right.
feels like that just happened.
Time has
Um, and,
passed.
and this movie was supposed to come out in March, but it's finally releasing this month or this week.
That was intentional,
And
bro. I'm telling they
yeah,
lined it up with Moon Knight intentionally. That's my theory, and I'm going with it with my tinfoil do rag
yeah,
on as we speak.
and we'll definitely find out the answer to that
Oh, I know.
when that goes
I know.
when that goes in the theater. But let me see, what can I ask you about this movie before we get out of here? I guess what are you kind of expecting to come out of the movie thinking?
I'm glad you said this. I'm glad you said that. Word to Michael Wilbon. So I hope and I pray that this movie brings out the existence or acknowledgement of the series What If. That is the only thing I'm looking forward to. I already know that the movie itself is going to be amazing. Huge Doctor fan. Excuse me. Huge Doctor Strange fan here. And that's what I'm looking. I already know the movie's going to be dope. From the director to the actors to the execution to the freaking colors, like, and the idea, like it's going to be
Yeah,
mind bending. And
right.
I'm a huge fan of Inception. So just the visual, like seeing visuals like that matched with amazing scores, I can live with the movie being horrible. But if they have amazing visuals and the scores like dope, scores like in the background you got to do it on the the little violin,
Hmm.
or like doom, doom,
Yeah.
doom. Like I can deal with it. Like Doom, amazing in terms of visuals and
Hmm.
like in scores. But anyways, what if, as long as there's some acknowledgement and some cohesiveness of connectivity, mentioning and or referencing the What If series, I'm good because that
Yeah.
opens up an amazing door of opportunities. And we've talked
Right.
about this since
I
last
think,
year.
and I think that's gonna happen. The connectivity. You got the writer, or am I right? The director of Loki is wrote this movie.
Mm,
So I feel like the connectivity between maybe What If or even the Loki show, would not be surprised if we saw Loki himself in this show. Um, like all the characters that we've seen so far in the trippiness shows, like
mm-hmm.
WandaVision, maybe we could see Vision in this show because you got
Hell
Wanda
yeah.
and she's talking about Vision. I would love to see him pop up in this show, but
Vision will be there.
yeah. And it's funny, what Doctor Strange 1 came out in 2014. I
Has it been that
believe it's
long ago, bro?
2014.
Let me double check.
Uh, yeah, check
Oh,
for
the
that.
phone.
But we got a glimpse of it in Endgame, Dane. But when Mortal told him the bill always comes due, or the bill comes
Always.
due always,
Always.
that's what this movie is. The culmination of him saying that to Doctor Strange, right? And we saw in Endgame what happened. We saw in Spider-Man No Way Home what happened.
2016, October.
2016. Thank you.
Yeah. Still, still,
We saw.
still a nice minute ago.
Right. So we saw what happened in Endgame and Spider-Man and those movies, but I think this is the movie where everything that Doctor Strange has done to protect the universe, their universe, it's all going to come crashing down, as far as this is the price that he had to pay
Mm,
of all the things he tried to do to keep it in control, thinking he was, I mean, he's not the Sorcerer Supreme anymore, but him trying to be or do the best he can to keep the universe intact. The very first moment in Doctor Strange 1, when we had that quote from Mordo, that's what this movie is. The bill
hey,
coming due.
hey,
It could
here's the
be
thing.
Doctor Strange, bill comes due.
Here's the thing. I overlook a lot of bad that Stephen Strange has done just because of the sacrifice that he's made. I don't know if any of y'all remember this or know this or not, but in the first Doctor Strange movie, he literally died thousands of times at the end of that movie. I don't
Yeah.
know. I personally, I've never died before, but I don't know. The idea of dying countless times over and over and over again for the sake of humanity is kind of dope. Granted,
Right.
have most of the problems were created because of horrible people, which is essentially the theme of most Marvel movies. But some of the stuff that he does that he shouldn't be doing, I kind of overlook. It's like, I get it. You kind of died a few thousand times, and then of course the most notable sacrifice, giving up the Time Stone during the
Right.
Infinity Saga. So that's all I had to say.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Put some respect on his name.
It's going to be trippy for sure. And of course, on the next episode, and yeah, our next episode is going to be jam packed, bro. We got the finale of Moon Knight. We got to talk about Doctor Strange, obviously.
Ozark, right? I think it'd be good enough to talk about Ozark, right?
We can talk about Ozark. I just finished the season finale of Ozark. Dane is working on it right now, but we'll talk about that as well, man. We're going to be jam packed for episode 85, man. Gonna be the jam packed.
Who's gonna be the Ocho Cinco episode, or who else you got in mind?
We got Ocho Cinco. Why not? I'm sure we could think of some more 85s by then. Dane's still thinking.
I can't think of any notable. I mean,
Vernon Davis.
You know, the only Vernon Davis. The two things I think about Vernon Davis:
sweet potato yams.
That and the cry. He said, "The crowd come in."
Yeah, sweet potato. He was doing his mouth.
Sweet potato yams. When that fool said he could crowd command on live TV.
Wow, man. Wow.
Get a chance if you want a good laugh. Just go to YouTube or Google and type in Vernon Davis cry. Funniest thing you're gonna see that day.
Yeah, man. Yes. Episode 84 of the Duo Sports and Stuff podcast. We're going to get up out of here, man. Make sure you check us out on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Dang, what the YouTubers say?
Hey, man, make sure you follow, like, and subscribe to get access to all the exclusive content. You'll get it here first, man. Join the Naughty Gang, man. And shout out to everybody else stolen content from and never giving them the credit of their dues. You're going to hear that over some super loud, obnoxious trap music, probably made in like a basement in Berlin somewhere or something. But anyways, that's how them dudes do. They all sound the same. And they all say in like one breath. And they give you a 10-minute video and they don't give any of the content that they said that they were going to give to the last 15 seconds.
To the very end.
Not here, though. Man. Not here. We don't do that here. We don't do that here.
Although we did tell them to subscribe. Oh, yeah, we told them at the end. Gotcha.
Yeah. They get all the good exclusive content, though.
Right.
Period. Right. And it's not all in the last 5% of the show. It's 100% of the show. Maybe 99.5. Because Deonte brings it to Broncos and that takes up, the 0.5.
All right, we're going to get out of here. Episode 84, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, our website, www.theduosportsandstuffpodcast.com. We out.